Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Seatown Podcast. Today on this episode, my guests are Heidi and Corina, the co-owners of the Admiral Bird in West Seattle. The Admiral Bird is a cozy community diner co-located with the Flower Lab, right on the corner of California and Admiral in West Seattle. It was really fun talking to those gals. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I enjoyed my conversation with them. Well, Heidi and Corina, right?
Yes.
Heidi and Corina, thanks for joining me today for my podcast. Just kind of starting off, would you mind just telling our guests a little bit about what you do, what your business is all about?
Do you want to start that one, Heidi?
I can do that. Admiral Bird Cafe, we started 2 years ago, February. Corina and I both having a pretty long history in the food service industry. Befriended each other, and Wendy, who owns the Flower Lab where we are now, was looking to fill this space and inquired about putting a little coffee shop in here. So we do coffee, cafe,
we do waffles and waffle sandwiches and breakfast sandwiches.
Okay. Well, before we get into the kind of the business side of things a little bit, would you mind just telling me a little bit about your personal backstory and where did you guys grow up? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
I grew up in West Seattle, and I've actually lived in this side of West Seattle pretty much my entire life. One of my first jobs was down at Pepper Docks on the beach, slinging burgers, when I was 14. So, and I also worked at Taco Del Mar when it really first started off, making food for the other shops down on the pier on the waterfront. So I'm a long-time Seattle native and food person in the area.
What about you, Heidi?
I grew up in North Seattle, moved to West Seattle in 98. Started my other cafe in 2002.
And what's the name of your other cafe?
Bird on a Wire Espresso.
Okay. So that was your first business, then your second business.
Yeah.
So I guess the question would be, where did the idea for your business come from?
Well, I've worked across the street from here for at least 10 years, so I feel like I have a good knowledge of what the neighborhood was lacking and what would do well here. And so there's not a lot of breakfast options. And there's a Lafayette Elementary School right down the street. So there's lots of families, lots of early morning people walking about. So really wanted to focus more on breakfast stuff for families and the people. The people.
Well, essentially the idea from this business, like I said, Corina and I had known each other prior. She helped me out a little bit at the other shop. And when Wendy approached me about this, I was real clear that I didn't want to do it alone. So I reached out to Corina. It's been exactly what this little neighborhood needed. We have tons of families that come in, and it's a good community space, and I think that's what we set out to do. I think both of us do have enough background in the industry to know that, we're not going to get rich. That's not why we did this. I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed. Sure, wouldn't that be neat one day?
Sure. Yeah.
But the reality of it is that this is what we like to do. We've both done food service for our entire lives.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
And sometimes we've had music events, we've had birthday parties, baby showers, and so that's really fun to kind of fill up the room with. We've shown the debates, which were really popular, the Democratic debates, and it was packed in here. Sure. And so that's super fun to be able to get all the people to and they love it. Yeah.
No, I think that you guys definitely succeeded in that. I mean, it definitely has a communal feel to it. It's a great vibe for sure. When you first started your business a couple years ago, what was the biggest challenge at that point?
Well, I think really the biggest challenge was finding out I was pregnant right when we were getting started. For sure. And I mean, Heidi was the second person I told that I was pregnant because it was going to be such a hobble for me at that point. But she did not waver and was like, let's keep going forward, we'll make it work. And we've been able to make it work, thankfully. That was definitely my biggest challenge initially, was being like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do two things I've never done before simultaneously? Sure,
that's a lot. Two big life changes right there. Yeah.
But
so that was for me.
I think for the shop, just like any business, like getting people through the front door. It was, and I think it still is a little bit difficult because we do share space with another business. So it took us a while to to get people to understand that. It was sort of
Yeah.
bewilderingly difficult, in my opinion, for people to get that.
Yeah.
It was even
Yeah.
hard for like our vendors forever would, there's two. I have the other cafe, Bird on a Wire. This one's called Admiral Bird. They would make the wrong deliveries and just stuff like that.
Sure.
We had another person last week call and asked if we sold birds.
Right.
Didn't believe
Bird
us when we
food.
said no.
They're watching
Yeah.
Orlando. They're like,
Yeah.
did you put a bird on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What would you say, right now is your greatest challenge that you guys face? I love your shirt, by the way.
Staffing, thanks. Is sometimes
Sure.
that was work appropriate, but I knew we couldn't get fired.
Yeah.
People come, people go, people have other lives. So it's, you don't really clock out when you own a business,
For sure, yeah.
which is part of it, and we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to like find affordable childcare, and then like the balance between paying people and paying yourself, and what makes the most sense
Sure.
financially to work and then to pay for people.
No, I think I personally struggle with just the day-to-day stuff starting to counter the real reason that I started the business was in that I like people and I enjoy
yeah.
I enjoy community, and I every once in a while get a little bogged down and find myself not enjoying that as much as I should, and then the cool thing though is that I get a little tap on the shoulder reminder from time to time. Like you walk into your cafe and it's full of happy people, and it's
You're reminded of why you love doing
you're kind of reminded why, because the paycheck isn't quite as magical as one would think.
Working in food
Yeah,
services,
yeah.
Or I had one woman come in and burst into tears that her 2-year-old had just thrown a fit in the street in the rain and was just like, I can't do it. And I was like, you know what? This cup of coffee's on me. You obviously really need it. It's going to be okay.
Sure.
We're going to, be able to have like those moments of like solidarity. And
Well, and it's interesting, like how quote unquote powerful a cup of coffee is. To people, and not to be like silly about it, but it is. It's I think historically coffee shops have been about people communing and meeting and talking, and in our society anymore, there's not a lot of communing and meeting and talking.
Well, and there's definitely like
texting and
3
Facebooking
people
and-
standing up being like, I'll buy her coffee.
Yeah,
Get that woman whatever she wants. So
It is. It's nice to.
Yeah.
It's important to me to have an environment that reminds people of that.
Sure.
Like, as much as every once in a while, I also need that reminder. So.
It sounds like you guys kind of touched on it. What do you say you love most about your business?
Free coffee.
Free coffee. It's not really free.
So
It's
free.
not actually free.
I know, you're
You
right.
just have to pay for it.
Like subsidized.
Yeah, totally. I get bored easily, so I like the
Oh my gosh, I love wearing all the hats, all the things.
it is kind of nice. I don't do well in a cubicle, so I like all the different aspects of what my job is. I also hate those desperately from time to time.
Yeah.
Sure.
I still like making coffee. I mean, I've made coffee since 1985, and I geeked out 2 nights ago and watched latte art videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's still a weird part of me that's like, ooh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, like you said, like I treat eating and dining and drinking as very much like a social activity. So personally, I enjoy that outside of work, and so it's nice that that's what my job is.
Right.
And I'm doing what I like to do.
Sure.
Not everybody gets to say that.
So you guys are partners in this business. What would you say kind of your different roles are? Have you morphed over time? You kind of gravitated towards what you enjoy best about the business. I mean, obviously the unpleasant things need to get done.
We don't talk about that. Essentially, this is Corina's shop. Corina's the face here, and I do more like HR, billing, that kind of stuff. Fill in temporarily, whip cracking. Sometimes I'm bad cop and she's good cop. I think I came into this with more like actual business knowledge, like just having done it for 12 years, and I like that part of it. I mean, I kind of wish that I had someone along the way that would be like, oh, don't do that, don't do that.
You'll regret that.
Yeah, you'll totally regret that. So, and it's a nice balance because I couldn't, like I said, when Wendy asked me to do this, I knew that there's no way I could run 2. I don't know how people do it.
Sure.
I know. How did they do that?
I don't know how they do it. It's way more beer
Robots?
than what we drink. Yeah. So It took us a while to kind of like
Yeah.
figure out what we were each good
Definitely.
at and what I was bad at, and to figure out what those roles were. And I feel like we've got it pretty well dialed in.
Feels good now.
She does what I say.
Yeah. Exactly.
As long as you got that figured out, you're good. Yeah. It's great you guys have that worked out, because I know a lot of a lot of entrepreneur experts say, never partner, like it never goes well. It sounds like you guys have a good.
I feel really lucky. I mean, there's so many times when I've been like, oh my God, thank God I have Heidi. For sure that I can call and then like.
Good job, champ.
Yeah, that for sure. I've been more grateful to have Heidi than that. Sure, there's like been hiccups and things we've had to work out because we got married.
We did. We got married.
We got married and had a business together. So it's just, I think we've done a really great job of that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, the Admiral Bird is kind of one of the only, breakfast places in the area. Other than that, what would you say sets you apart? And as far as other businesses that offer what you guys offer?
We have really good coffee, and I know a lot of places say that. And I opened my first coffee shop 14 years ago amidst 987,000 other coffee shops.
Right. Do you guys have the same coffee here? And what is it?
We use Raven's Brew.
Okay. Raven.
It's been super important to me for the whole time, both the shops, that we do really, really good coffee. I think that's what we started with, and I think a lot of businesses will start with doing one thing, and then because you're an entrepreneur and you have that brain, you have to try new things. Also, I think just to remain comparable to other businesses, you have to kind of, continuously sort of morph. I also think that once you try and do too many things well, the tendency is to do all of them not quite as well. So it's really, really, really important to me that we do really good coffee.
Right.
Well, and we make everything, like we make all our own syrups, and we use like organic sugar and organic products, and I don't think everybody does that.
We do most of our food from scratch.
Yeah,
There's
we
a
make
ridiculous amount of prep here. Pretty much the only things we don't make are those like
the
fancy
rolls
pastries right in
and
front
the
of you.
pastries, yeah.
Yeah, there's no Cisco truck pulling up here.
No way. Well, and it's nice because then everybody who works on the floor also knows how to make all the food, so they know what's in it, and so they just have a lot of knowledge in that.
Great.
So when people have questions about stuff, they're like, "Oh, I know because I've made that 500 times."
Yeah. So people like me and my wife and kid come in who has every allergy known to man, they can tell exactly what's in there.
Yeah. And we have a couple beers on tap, which is different. Cider, kombucha.
You say the coffee is really important to you. What do you find people tend to come in here for? I mean, like, do you a lot of people just come in for coffee or for breakfast or come in for beer? Regulars?
We do a lot of breakfast. I mean, there are, you could hit 3 other coffee shops with a rock from here, so we're not. And I think even starting this place, like, it wasn't my goal to outdo any of them.
I think there's enough
we
for
had
all of
something
us.
different to offer.
Here.
And I think just as the person who does the books most of the time, we do more of a food business than the other coffee shop is very much like we do way more coffee than this place. But I think it is, it's a cafe here. It's not as much of a quick in and out.
Yeah.
Sure. It doesn't have the coffee shop feel as much as a breakfast brunch.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been here for. It's delicious.
Yeah.
What would you say is your greatest strength?
Besides everything is my greatest strength.
It's true. I do make good coffee. I feel like I give my staff a lot of room to be themselves. Like that's something that's really important to me when I worked for other people. I wanted to feel like I was part of the system. We don't have a lot of like rules, like we don't have a dress code. Like I want people to be comfortable. I want the environment to be real. I don't know if necessarily that's a strength. I think it's important to me to just give staff a lot of room to, follow the parameters that I set. But I don't enjoy micromanaging. Like I have a great sense of humor. You have to have a good sense of humor to not go completely insane.
Yeah.
Corina does everything with a smile. I don't know how she does it.
It's impressive.
It's insane. I don't.
Yeah.
This is my face.
Yep. I like the dry.
No, it's dry. It's bone dry.
You guys really compliment each other. That's probably
Yeah,
why
it's
we're
good.
so-
Yeah.
What would you say is one habit that you wish you had?
Maybe not procrastinating. Is that a habit?
Not
Is that a no?
procrastinating.
That's a bad
Not
habit.
procrastinating. I wish that I'm not very good at setting up systems. Like, we need to do, how do we do this? Let's set up a system to do that.
Sure.
I'm more about
Systematize
like,
it.
you gotta put me in the center of it and I gotta mess it up a whole lot of times.
Okay.
And then I'm like, there, that makes sense. How come somebody didn't figure that out a year ago?
Yeah.
So like some sort of pre-systems analysis or something. Again, not a habit. That's more a skill. It's a tough one. How do you pick a habit? I've never really actually thought about that before. I'm gonna think on that one. I'm gonna pick a new habit.
I don't know. The things I'm like not good at, I don't
I think
want
we
to
just
do.
go back to where we were before, where we're just perfect.
See, we got it.
I like that answer. It's simple. It's
Yeah,
easy.
we've accepted ourselves. I think, at this
Accepting my
point.
perfection is a habit I'm working on.
What would you say you're passionate about? What makes you tick? What drives you?
That's a great question. I think that for me, there have been many times that I have wanted to throw in the towel with this. Not so much Admiral Bird, but in both
In
of them.
general.
I mean, just being aware of what these businesses mean to the community. And again, it kind of goes back to that thing where sometimes I hate it and then I need a little tap, tap, tap and reminder. But people really like these places. I mean, I have people that if maybe I happen by here in the morning and then I'm at the other shop later and I'll see a person here and then I will see them again at the other shop. Or I have people that come in, I do tend to spend a little bit more time at the other shop. So I'll have people that come in there and they're like guilty that they haven't come into here yet. And I was like, well, I haven't been there for a week either, so don't worry about it. Like people understand how much this means to their community, and they voice it to us a lot. And I think that I do. I try and remember that. Also, I feel like I'm a perfectionist, and it's really important that both of these places run well and look good because it's my name on it, and it's Corina's name on it, and so it's that like pride in it every day. That's like, yeah, I want to throw in the towel, but yeah, I said I would, have waffles for everybody today, and we gotta go. You gotta just do it. Like, get in there.
Yeah, I'm definitely passionate about the people more than anything. Because like I'll be at the gym and I'll hear people like talking about it, and that's really like wonderful. Or I'll be at Circa and I can hear them. Oh, have you tried it? Oh my god, it's so great. And then you're like, it's pretty great. And then I like my employees to be happy and
Your smile.
following.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and of course, a lot of them have other interests, and I want to make sure that they can have a flexible schedule and get their time off that they need, and be able to like enjoy their work, and that it's also fulfilling, even if they don't get paid a ton of money.
Oh, they get paid a ton more than us.
True, but
I have to say to that, I've worked very few shifts here, and I've been covering here a little bit because someone left. And it's fun. I mean, I've gotten home the last couple of days. It's really hard. Like, we work hard. But I get home at the end of the day, and I'm like, God, that's a cool place. Like,
you're so close to the other people.
Good
It's
job.
really like being on like a little ship where you're bumping booties
It
the whole
is like a
time,
ship,
and you're
you're
like,
right.
hand me that, do that. Like on the weekends, it gets really busy. And so it gets really like, you get into like the groove of like, oh my God, can we do it?
Go,
There's
go.
like too many tickets. There's falling off the rail. And you're like, we got this. It's exciting. I love the restaurant business. I love when you're pushed right to the edge of like, oh shit, I don't know if I can do this. And you're like, that is like the sweet spot to me of like having that like, oh my God, yes.
because you feel that success.
Yeah, and then you're like,
that is part
we
of
did it.
Part of this type of job, like restaurant, is that you have an immediate gratification. So yeah, it is really nice to just hand that coffee over, and somebody's like, oh,
Fixed.
I can't drink that. It's so beautiful. And I go, stop it. You're right. It is. I studied last night. We made a swan.
So let's get to some of the fun stuff. Tell me about one of your worst entrepreneurial experiences. Where did you fail miserably?
Well, can I be really candid?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a secret. I owe money to the IRS because when I first got going, You're working at the shop the whole day, and I think I have friends who own businesses that are in similar predicaments, which I think is why I'm a little bit more comfortable admitting to it, but you get a little bit behind on the paperwork, on the taxes, on the, it's easy to make mistakes on that, and there's no one that will come in and kind of back you up or be like, hey, you made this mistake, it's cool. As soon as you make a mistake on anything tax related, they're nailing you with penalties. So, and in hindsight, it was something that I could have avoided. That would be the one thing that if I could go back and do it over, because now I'm in for penalties and interest and whatnot. So it's. And again, I know many other business owners that have made the same mistake, and so it made me feel a little bit better. Like their misery is my company. I'm not going to prison for what I owe. It's not quite that. It's not quite that exciting. Right. But
man, that'd make a great podcast episode.
Wouldn't that be? I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'm not paying it. No,
you're probably going to prison for other reasons.
Shh. What do you got? What's
Disaster? Waffle makers.
Oh, geez. Yeah. How many waffle? That one's broken now, too.
Breaking waffle makers?
They're
you can't
not
find
well
a good one.
made.
That is
so that's probably my biggest struggle is like my battle of the waffle makers.
Okay.
I know that sounds weird, but I do so much. I read and about waffle makers so much on the internet that it's embarrassing.
I've also done that. I'm like, she must be insane. There must be a waffle maker out there.
So now take us to a time when you kind of really experienced that, wow, I'm really making a difference. I'm really succeeding here in what I set out to do.
Just like last week, we have a ticket rail. And I remember when we were buying it, and we were like, "Oh man, do you think we'll ever
Do we really need that?
We don't really need it. We'll never have that many." And now it's too small. But we need a bigger one because on the weekends there's too many tickets.
I was supposed to buy that for you, wasn't I? Sorry.
Having a moment of being oh my god, our ticket rail is too short.
I forgot to buy the ticket rail.
And go buy a ticket rail.
I got it. It's on my list. It's on my list.
So in the past, what was holding you back from becoming the entrepreneurs that you are today?
Yeah, I guess it's confidence.
Just do it.
Yeah, because I just just do it. Just jump in there.
The worst thing that can happen. You owe $20,000 to the IRS. That's all right.
Well, and then I just feel like now you just realize that everybody is just faking it.
Yeah.
It's just they're just doing it. It's not like they have any sort of better preparation than you had. You could prepare forever.
Sure.
And some people do.
Right.
And then
we don't.
Or you can just figure out what you need, learn along the way.
Right.
And learn from being in it, which is I think
better.
I love learning that way.
Right. You could wait 10 years till everything's perfect. You have all your ducks in a row where you could take the one duck you have, line them up, and go.
And you're like, oh my god, it still didn't work. And you're like, why?
One duck's gonna die. You're gonna you're gonna get an Indian runner.
Yeah. Sometimes the ducks are all over the place, but that's okay.
That's right.
What is the best advice that you've ever received?
Corina actually taught me one of the greatest lessons or greatest tricks, I guess, that I have learned as an adult is in a situation that appears annoying or less than lovely is to decide how important it is to you on a scale of 1 to 7. Because I used to have a lot of ones being, oh my god, everything was so important. The fact that the napkins weren't stocked was so important. The fact, so that's been a really lovely coping tool that I have used in a lot of areas of my life. They're all 6s now.
No,
I don't give a shit.
That's not the point.
Throw it in the garbage. It depends on how many manis I have.
That's a great point because I think it's really easy to make a to-do list and everything's of equal importance, which isn't true. If you do that in small business, you're going to quickly be overwhelmed and not be doing the most important things. Is there a personal habit that you believe contributes to your success?
I don't know if it's a habit, but I think that my overall number one important thing is consistency in business. I don't know, that's just my opinion of one way to have your food service business succeed. I mean, you can go places, products are different, product quality is different, but consistency is the main thing. I mean, if we're going to talk about perhaps a large conglomerate coffee company that seems to be prevalent in this town, they don't have a really stellar tasting
you know what you're
product,
gonna get.
but you get the exact same thing every time. So there's no surprises, there's no disappointment on that level.
Sure.
Which is nice when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Just totally,
And
yeah.
you're like,
If you guys could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
There's actually one, I started reading it. It's by this woman. It's about branding. It's about like appreciating what your brand is and selling that brand and not being apologetic that not everybody's gonna like that brand. Power of Unpopular? Maybe that's it.
Do you want to show the camera your book?
I do. Is the camera on still? Because we can't really see it.
Yep,
But
it's on.
okay, I believe you. Great. No, it's just it's really nice because I think in business, I have fallen victim to things like changing things because I think that's what people want, and it has taken me from what I wanted to do and what was important to me. Everybody wanted 20-ounce drinks for a while. I didn't want them to want 20-ounce drinks because gross. It's a whole bunch of milk with a little bit of coffee. But then I looked at the numbers. I was like, wow, you're gonna pay $6 for 20-ounce drink? Great. So I did that for a while, and then my soul suffered because I wasn't doing the thing that I wanted to do, which was make really, really, really good coffee.
Right.
So it speaks to that a little bit. More about like branding, like not everyone's gonna love what you do, and so you do it for the people that do love it, and the other people can go
that's okay.
to the other place.
Yeah, we're like, you know what? We're not for everyone, and that's okay.
Product is going to make everyone happy.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe not the best book, but it's the one I skimmed most recently.
Sure. Well, sounds like some good stuff. Are you familiar with Seth Godin?
No.
He's written a whole bunch of books, a kind of entrepreneur guy. But do you guys listen to podcasts?
A little bit. Karina does a lot.
So he has one called the Startup School, and it's just a 15-episode, basically like best of from a conference he gave, and it has just tons of nuggets like that sort of thing. Like, there's no product you're gonna make that's everyone's gonna love. You know, that's okay. Just figure out who it's for, stick with it, don't change. You know.
Seth Goodwin?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good job.
All right, so
I
kind
feel
of
like
wrap-
a lot of entrepreneur stuff is not geared towards cafe restaurant people.
Maybe there's definitely that
I think
focus on the kind of the
There's
startup
like you're
tech,
having
you
a
know,
thing, you're making a product, like I made whatever, and like how to market that, but it's not really for restaurant people very often, I find.
Sure. Well, the nice thing, because there's definitely, I think, a lot of the entrepreneurial business stuff is kind of geared towards the startup, you know, with your out plan, you know, all that sort of thing. But
I was listening to podcasts like that for a while, and I was like, none of this is helpful to me.
Sure. So I'm not food services, but I mean, just as a small business owner, I found that a lot of that podcast is particularly is helpful. Or like the E-Myth, I don't know if you ever read that, you know, that sort of stuff. These kind of universal, like small business ownership principles that they're kind of tried and true with them. But yeah, I agree. There's a lot definitely focus on the new hotness of the startups from years on. So kind of in wrapping up, do you guys have a favorite quote?
I mean, that's kind of.
I have a coffee mug that says, "Give what you have; it's better than you think."
Oh, that's nice.
And that always makes me feel really like happy. Or and one more, life is long, so make it happy.
Gross.
Sorry. We're the yin and yang.
I know. The smile.
Like, really? Oh, I have one. Throw that stinky rule book away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been a good one.
Is that original quote?
Nope.
No.
Well, maybe. Rebecca Chavez. Yeah, I think that might be an original quote. Rebecca Chavez. We'll give her props for that. She deserves that.
West Seattleite as well.
Yep.
All right. So in closing, what would be the best way for someone to connect with you guys or find out more about this business or your other one?
Just call and say you're from Yelp, and I usually get back to you. I never get back to
They call
you.
you too?
Email is really the best way because both of us are so scattered in our day-to-day lives that we will forget everying.
Yes.
So
And
pretty
what is
much
that
if
email?
anyone talks to me and needs something, it's admiralbird.ws@gmail or Facebook works well.
Yeah.
So that's admiralbird.ws@gmail.
Yes.
Correct.
And then you guys have a website as well.
Thirstiest birds. The thirstiest
You're
birds.
super thirsty.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up. I appreciate
Great.
your time and being guest on here. So.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. And next time you're in West Seattle, make sure to check out the Admiral Bird for brunch or just to stop by for a great cup of coffee. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoy listening to my podcast, do help share my podcast with your friends and family in the area. Part of the way you can do this is by reviewing and rating my podcast on iTunes and other podcast sources. And of course, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.